Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome to a video on Cozy Cutter. So yeah, this is basically my first video on this channel, like back. Of course, I have other videos on this channel, but they're just like universe mode videos where I don't say anything for the entire thing, or they're just like this one really weird troll Seamus video where I was like, how to make Seamus in 2K22 and it's in 2K20, and it really didn't make any sense. It was probably the stupidest video I've ever made, but most of my videos make no sense. Anyway, basically, the first video is gonna be a Reddit video because I don't have really anything to talk about. So basically, when it comes to wrestling nowadays, I do try to keep up with it. I'm not gonna say I watch every show because I don't. There's a lot of wrestling on now, especially with AEW having, I believe they have 3 shows, and WWE has 2, not including NXT, so I guess they have 3 as well, every single week. And as well, each company has around maybe 1 pay-per-view every month. WWE has 1 every month, and I think AEW has 1 maybe every 2 or 3 months, which is crazy. The amount of wrestling that we have nowadays is fucking insane, and to keep up with it is just fucking insanity. Like, it is so hard. I would literally need to pay for multiple subscriptions, buy multiple pay-per-views every month. It would be insane. So here's the thing. On this channel, before I even get started on this Reddit, by the way, we're on r/WWE. Before I get started, I am not going to be watching every show. I'm not going to be watching every AEW show, every WWE show. This is just purely the things that I find interesting in wrestling. I'm going to talk about some of it, give my opinions on just news that happens. I keep up to date with it, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an expert on everything that happens because I'm not watching every show religiously. It's just kind of the stuff I hear about and I watch. So yeah. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the r/WB Reddit. So I usually, I don't go on Reddit that much. I'm not a fucking neckbeard person or a Mark in his basement. But there's a lot of stuff on here, and I'm just gonna look at the shit, give my opinions on shit, and yeah. WWE and UFC have officially merged to form the TKO group. So honestly, I could give no fucks about that. The only thing is, I don't see, like, they formed a TKO, like, I guess that's just like the official company that just manages over the 2 companies. I always thought the merger was a little weird. Like, I didn't know how it was really working. It's just kind of like they're 2 different genres, you know. UFC is like actual fighting, WWE is entertainment. I don't know. I guess it makes sense, but it always felt kind of weird to me, and I honestly have no opinion on the UFC and WWE together. So this TKO shit, I honestly don't know. I don't know how I don't think it's gonna change anything. I wonder who the what I can't read. I wonder who the only wrestler he defeated this year is. 1 win, 30 losses. What if I tell you the Miz has 1 win-loss record of 130 in the year 2023 so far? Yeah, man. So the Miz has been losing a lot. I remember he lost to Snoop Dogg at WrestleMania to one of the greatest elbows in wrestling history, and he recently just lost to LA Knight at Payback. So, like, listen, when it comes to the Miz is great. I think you're a fool to fucking say the Miz is shit at this point. He's been around for so fucking long. I actually seen I don't know. I seen the Great One. Shout out to the Great One, a wrestling YouTuber that is great, and I love to watch him. He did a video on the Miz and how the Miz needs to be appreciated. And I feel like if you don't appreciate the Miz at this point, like, I don't know what's up with you. I mean, he has been consistent for the last 10, 15 years maybe in wrestling. I don't know how long he's been in, but he's been in for a long time, and he's been doing good shit, man. Like, I know it used to be a thing to shit on the Miz because he's pretty average, I guess, when it comes to wrestling, or he was. But man, you can't deny him anymore. My man is a veteran. My man puts over any person he works with. He's just amazing. So the 1 in 30 losses is kind of disappointing because I feel like he probably deserves more. But I mean, he's fine in the position he's at, you know. I honestly would love if Dolph was even in the position that the Miz is in, because at least Miz is getting screen time. Dolph is like at the bottom of the card, man. I don't even know what the fuck happened to Dolph. Does anyone else like it when WWE crowns an unlikely champion? Champion. Even though I don't particularly like their reign, it definitely makes things interesting. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I think a lot of, I mean, I guess half of the people on this list, we're actually, I think they deserve to be champion, in my opinion. Like, I think Paige deserved to be champion. She's like the youngest Divas champion, I think. Kevin Owens, of course, deserved that Universal Championship reign. Dolph absolutely deserved his fucking World Heavyweight Championship reign, and Liv deserved her SmackDown reign. For Jinder and Alberto, like, listen, man, I have nothing against Jinder Mahal. His reign, though, was very, like, shit. Just racism.
Eyes are different, your skin's different, your hair's different. You look like Pikachu is having a seizure.
And Alberto's reign, man, who fucking likes this piece of shit? Let's just move on. Fuck you, Alberto. Why did these teams fail on the main roster? NXT produces great tag teams and the main roster always fumbles them. Jason Jordan and Chad Gable Alpha Academy. Then we have the Ascension. Then we have Blake and Murphy. Then we have Enzo and Cass. Then we have Cash and... Oh, not Cash, right? I was just going to say their AEW names. Yeah, the Revival. The Vaudevillains, the Hype Bros, and of course Heavy Machinery, my man Otis and Tucky. So I agree. I always wonder why these guys when they come to the main roster, they just like are booked like shit. I can't even remember when the Ascension debuted, but I know when they did, like they were on like a hot streak in NXT, but when they came to the main roster, they were like the ultimate fucking jobber tag team. Like I literally don't think I ever seen them win a match on the main roster. I know that's not true. They definitely have, but I just don't fucking remember it at all. I think they got fucking screwed on the main roster, dude. The rest of the teams, I can kind of put up a case to say that they did pretty good for themselves. Like, not Blake and Murphy, because I don't even know if Blake and Murphy was even on the main roster at all. I think they kind of split up beforehand, so I don't even think these count. But Enzo and Cass had a good run. I mean, they were over as hell. The Revival had a decent run. They were Raw champions and SmackDown champions at one point. Not the same time, but, at different points. The Vaudevillains, I mean, they got fucking screwed. I guess the same as the Ascension. I don't remember them really winning very many matches. The Hype Bros also kind of got screwed. And Otis and Tucky, I think they had a pretty good run, man. I would have loved to seen them hold the tag titles, and obviously I didn't even like really when they split up, because I thought it was just a shame for Tucker, because obviously Otis is going on doing good stuff with Chad Gable, but Tucker is now released, which was sad. But overall, yeah, and I mean, I think the first team, Alpha Academy. So this is editing Cody. Our editor Cody coming back in here for popping in for a second. I just realized that I've been calling American Alpha Academy. So yeah, please ignore that shit. My bad. I'm not gonna try to change that now. So yeah, just pretend I'm saying American Alpha, please. Yeah, I also don't get why they're not a thing anymore. Like, I guess Jason is injured, but man, I would love to see Alpha Academy again. For them to come back together and like win the tag titles, man, I would pay for that shit. Alpha Academy was so good when they first came. And honestly, I don't think they fumbled Alpha Academy when they first brought them in. They won the tag titles and had a great rivalry with the Usos. So honestly, I don't even think they fumbled them. Jason Jordan got injured, and then Chad Gable got flushed down the toilet into becoming Shorty G. Obviously, he's doing good now with Gunter, but had kind of a dark period, if we could say that. For those of you who consider Brock Lesnar as the greatest of all time in WWE, what are your reasoning? He's been there for so long, man. Like, he's had so many great rivalries. He's just, like, also one of the most strongest booked wrestlers in history, I feel like. I mean, like, obviously he's been losing a bit now because he's in the later stages of his career. But for a good point, man, if you beat Brock Lesnar, you were getting pushed to the fucking moon. I think Roman and Seth, for a little while, were, like, the only people who had beat Brock for, like, a long-ass time. I mean, like, listen, man, that itself is, like, a pretty great career right there. I don't know if I'd call him the greatest of all time, but with the merger now complete, what UFC fighters could you see making a crossover into WWE? Okay, I was talking about this earlier, and I thought maybe it was dumb, but okay, maybe if UFC fighters are then down to hop into wrestling or whatever, maybe that's chill and cool a little bit, but, like, listen, man. If UFC fighters are just going to be hopping over to wrestling, it's a completely different world. Like, Ronda Rousey in wrestling, she did pretty good, okay? I don't know if she's the first. I honestly can't remember many UFC fighters that came over, but I feel like she's one of the main ones that just like hopped over to wrestling and just like stayed in wrestling. And it was a hard switch, man. Like people still don't like Ronda Rousey, and I don't even really like her very much either, just because I feel like her promos are absolutely dead. And I feel like that's for most UFC fighters. I feel like the UFC WWE merger was really weird for me as well, because I feel like a lot of UFC fighters don't respect the WWE at all. Like especially Connor. Like we've seen a bunch of stuff with Connor shitting on wrestlers. I feel like it's just kind of like a weird thing. Like I don't see Connor or John Jones or any UFC fighter really switching over, unless they like actually have said and stated that they like wrestling, because otherwise obviously there's no fucking interest there. What if the next game brought back was a SmackDown versus Raw title? Man, I would kill for that, dude. I would absolutely love if they fucking made another SmackDown versus Raw game, because it makes sense now. Like the brand split has been back for the last like 7 years, and they still haven't made one. Like I mean, I get that it would be 2K games. Like they don't need it. They could just make good games and not fucking. But like, upgrade the GM mode, focus a lot on it, and call it SmackDown versus Raw, because then you have a reason to focus on GM mode, because GM mode, in my opinion, is still a little bit shit. What went wrong with Ziggler? Man, we were just talking about this. Man, I fucking agree. What went wrong? Dolph Ziggler is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I didn't include him in the list that you can watch right here on screen in a second. The top 10 wrestlers of 2021. I need to make another one of those, but yeah, I didn't include him on that because he just wasn't doing anything that year, and he's not doing anything this year. He hasn't been doing anything last year. He hasn't been doing anything for the last like 5 years, man. It sucks. Dolph Ziggler deserves so much more than what he's given, man. This guy, if I was a booker, I would immediately put Ziggler at least at the top of like the mid card, man, because like Ziggler has so much charisma, so much talent, and it kills me, man, how this guy literally is at this point just like you never see him on TV. Like I was talking about a while ago, even if he just had like a Miz position at this point, like he comes out, he feuds with like maybe some of the biggest heels in the company, and he loses at the end, but he puts them over. Like even if he had that position, but he's not even doing that really, man. Like Ziggler is barely on TV, and it sucks, man. He couldn't get the brass ring. Exactly. Nothing. Dolph Ziggler is a Grand Slam champion and a Money in the Bank winner. That is a Hall of Fame resume. Yeah, it is. But, I mean, let's face it. This is true. Dolph Ziggler will probably be a Hall of Famer. He has a great career, but he could have been so much more, okay? Anyway, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me if you want me to do another one of these Reddit videos where I look at the Reddit. Give me another Reddit to look at if you want, because I would love to. Maybe at some point, if I can even grow my channel, which is hard enough to fucking do, I could make my own subreddit and look at your guys' takes if I get any fucking subscribers. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.